Last time on the Seventh Valkyrie, the thunder of a coming storm brought grim tidings for Gendro, the owner of a small bar just inland of Reen. But from the arriving storm comes a strange, mysterious traveler, with fine clothes, buckets of coin, and a cloak full of secrets. Just who is this man, and what does he want? Well, you'll find out now, in Pellets for a Rat, Part 2. After explaining that he'd served all remaining edible food and some dubious extras, Gendro made his way back to the bar, finding himself a few shades shy of pissed drunk and just about ready to call it a night. But the stranger had settled down into the rhythmic ticking of counting coin again, sipping his newest glass of wine intensely as the pile continued to grow. Already across the bar lay an impossible amount of money, in stacks and rows and columns that might have filled 2 saddlebags. How he walked with that much weight on him was a marvel in itself, but that explained the floorboards screaming when he stepped on them. The stranger had left the space in front of him empty, and now began to slide the coin dexterously around in hypnotic cycles. First, he vanished 1 stack with a sleight of hand, revealed 2 more, combined 4 into 1 and then back into 3, and all with an ease and intricacy of swaying grass in the wind. He continued his display, and then began to speak. Coins. Money itself in general fascinates me, the traveler said, vanishing 1 stack with a sleight of hand and then revealing 2 more. It's infinitely valuable and yet entirely worthless. Gendro tweaked his head to the side. I'll give you an example, the traveler said, flicking open a handful of coins. If I gave you all of this money right now, would you be a richer man? Well, of course. Gendro subtly leaned towards the coins. Ah, you might think that, but it's not true at all, the traveler said, spreading his palms. The money had vanished from them, somehow reassembled into the militant rows on the table. You see, now I have liquor and food. All you have is something shiny to clean up and store in the morning. But I'll have all that money, Gendro said, starting to feel almost dizzy at the stranger's rhythmic cycling of gold. Yes, but that only matters if you find someone else who wants these shiny little circles. If you were to snap your fingers and fall into the wild lands or the ocean, then you'd find that I had a full belly and a nice buzz, while you were just weighted down. I guess. But I ain't planning to leave here anytime soon. Ah, yes. That is the convenience of money, the traveler said, revealing a stack and making it vanish just as quickly. Or is it the trick? Money can only be spent where there are buyers, and there are only buyers where the money is good. Nations lean on the law and the sword to keep order, but in my opinion, there's rarely something as telling of a state's power as its money. I'll take your word for it. These were issues Gendro had never really thought about and did not care to consider. Something he did care to consider was a sudden squeaking on the far end of the bar, where a rat raced from shadow to shadow. Gendro swore and got up to chase after it, but the traveler put an arm across to block Gendro's way. Oh, there's no need to chase. I find them quite fascinating. Have you ever studied rats? I studied them enough to know that they'll get into my food and ruin it. Oh, pay no mind to that. I'll pay for any stores it ruins, the traveler responded. He stacked another roll of gold to make his point. At Gendro's confused look, the traveler softened his tone. Please, just trust me on this one. I'm enjoying our conversation. Gendro slowly sat down, and the traveler smiled. Thank you. Where were we? Rats. Okay. You see, a rat is actually very intelligent, capable of being trained to perform many useful tasks. But each change of behavior requires a pellet, an item of food. The rat will do whatever you want as long as you condition it to do so with that pellet. The traveler tossed a chunk of meat to the floor. He must have saved it somehow, and the rat raced out from the shadows to snap up the scraps. Gendro swore again, but the traveler's arm went to Gendro to stop him. Don't be upset. He's not hurting anyone, just middling on by, existing, relishing the chance to try something a little bit more sophisticated. The stranger threw another scrap, and the rat leapt out and seized upon it hungrily. It was fat and well-fed, as many rats were in Cleft. But still, as the stranger threw out a third scrap, the rat still dashed out from the shadows and devoured it. Can you stop feeding the rats? But why? The stranger said, leading closer and eyeing the rat as it retreated to the shadows. He was almost to Gendro's ear when he spoke softly. He's starving for meat. You're starving for coin, and I'm feeding both of you. Yeah, well, I ain't no rat. And you should watch your tone, big shot. I don't know who you are, where you're from, but here... Gendro was silenced by the echo of another stack of coins slamming down on the table. The stranger's eye was alight. I'm sorry. I'm a stranger in a strange land, you're right. But can you find it in your heart to forgive a little misunderstanding? You can, can't you? Hear me out a little longer, and this stack is yours. Gendro's eyes went wide, and he stammered, leaning back in his chair. The traveler pushed the stack of coins over to Gendro, a hand covering them from view. Tell me, are you a family man? The stranger asked, staring with an intensity nothing like the dreamy, dancing bliss from earlier in the evening. Yes, I am. Gendro glanced over to grab his glass of whiskey, put it to his lips. He drained it as the stranger continued to talk. If it weren't for the coin on the table, he would have left. Do you provide for them? The stranger asked, leaning closer. You have a nice bar here, even a home out back. I do all right. Gendro scooted back to reestablish the distance between them. I got some of it from my father. Just as a point of curiosity, how much money do you make per day? The traveler was somehow right up on Gendro again. Profit, specifically. Is that a strange question here? It's not so much where I'm from. No. Some people get weird, but ain't no secret to it. Good days, maybe 15 silver. Better days, 30. Gendro trailed off, and then in the silence around them, a sound like the clinking of coins came and then went. And now that he thought about it, hadn't there been a storm coming? Gendro could hear wind blowing somewhere out there, but for now, it all seemed very, very far away. Maybe he was just drunk. But the man's eye was fixated on him, and that ticking was even louder now. 30 on a great night, 5 or 10 during the low season in the winter. For all that work? Seems low. Maybe, but around here that's decent money. Got a lot to be grateful for. Well, that, my friend, is always a matter of perspective, especially when it comes to coin. Do you actually know how much is on this table? Look, take a little closer. For the first time, Gendro pulled out one of the coins and really looked at it. He'd expected them to be stells, equal to about 2 silver coins. Instead, he found the triple golden star that marked it as a steer, the highest denomination of Edoran currency. He'd only seen one in his life. Just so you know, each of these coins is worth 300 silver. There is already 10 times more on this table than you will ever make in the rest of your entire life. Gendro raised the glass to his lips, not realizing there was nothing in it. And the traveler watched quietly, underscored by that quiet ticking. But now, the traveler's hands lay still. Gendro turned to the windows, but they were still latched shut. And when he turned, the traveler was fiddling with one of his gloves. Well, for that many pellets, the traveler explained, tugging off his glove to reveal a whirring and clicking hand of iron and steel. You could train a rat to do whatever you want. In the dim torchlight of the bar, Gendro's eyes seized on that hand, made of such rippling, shimmering intricacy and accuracy as to shift from metal to organic to something more, something impossible. The stranger resumed his hypnotic sleight of hand, fine black leather and shining gold and glittering steel all dancing a steady dance against the dirty wood. At last, he selected a coin, flickering it along the backs of black leather fingers and impossible iron digits before he cocked his hand back. With a whispering whip crack, the gold coin turned into a blurring beam across the bar, landing home in a burst of blood embedded through fur, skin, bone, and brain, through the rat and into the wood floor in the shadows. Now, my man, that is a grounded use for coin, the stranger said, standing and humming as he walked away from Gendro towards the corner. But only if you can throw it fast enough to crush a rat's skull. And accurately. Not many other people can do that. And let's be honest, there are quite a few materials that serve as a better bullet than gold. Squatting over the rat, the stranger clicked his tongue. I'm sorry, it's a shame I had to end our little demonstration, small one, but your larger brothers are a bit more fun. The stranger scooped up the bleeding, twitching rat corpse in his metal hand and returned to the bar. What the hell are you doing? Gendro finally snapped out of the stranger's hypnotic haze. What in the name of all that is good and holy are you? I'll pay you 5 coins to shut up this instant. And actually another one to grab me another drink. What would that be? 6 months' pay? Should be fine for an evening to swallow some pride. Get yourself another one as well. It seems that alcohol is the only thing that calms your nerves. The stranger sat down, slapping the rat carcass on the table and flipping a bloody coin to Gendro. The stranger laughed as it stuck to the barkeeper's shirt, making him drop both whiskey glasses as he tried to swat it away. They shattered on the floor, and the stranger shook his head, tossing another coin at Gendro. Can you catch this one? Come on, man. The tests haven't even begun, and you're already failing. Get us another drink. I got half a mind to whoop your ass, young man, shiny hand or not, Gendro said, swatting away the coin. You think you can throw around big stacks of money and call a man a rat? Talk about training and testing him? Who the hell do you think you are? Oh. Well, I'm glad that you asked. I think I am Kyrie Krona, known to some as the Machine King and to many others by many other names, but those are my 2 most popular ones. And I think that for a lifetime's worth of money on the table, which could potentially be yours, you will act exactly how I want you to for a few minutes. Or did I read that wrong? Want to know what happens next? Join us on Patreon to become a hero of Edera and get early access to episodes along with bonus features, director's commentary, and the full Tab to archive. You can also find other ways to support us at the links in the description, and we will see you next week.